Hey guys, this video is a little bit different. We'll be looking at one team that has disappointed me the most and one team that has impressed me the most so far in the top 5 leagues. Let's start in La Liga, and of course there can only be one team, and that is Barcelona. Sure, they have lost players like Lionel Messi, and they've not had much money, of course, so they had to sign players on free agents. For example, Memphis Depay, Sergio Aguero, who's now injured for 3 months because he has a problem in his heart, so it could potentially end his career. And so they had to rely on youngsters like Gavi and like Ansu Fati, who's just come back from a big injury. So they've not had an easy season, but like you'd expect way more than where they are in the league right now, because they're ninth. They're behind teams like Osasuna, Vallecano. They are literally 6 points from the top 4 after 12 games. And that's just not good enough for Barcelona. Barcelona have been a team that has battled for the league in every single season. So seeing them ninth after, it's not even really the beginning. Now it's starting to be in the middle of the season, of course. But now you know what you get from this team, and ninth is just not good enough. There is one player that has disappointed me the most, and that is Marc-Andre Ter Stegen. Everyone sees him as one of the best goalkeepers in the world, but he's had a shocking season, and is a big reason they're not that good. As we can see, in 10 games, he concedes 1.2 goals per game and 1.8 saves per game. Only a 60% save ratio, and that for Marc-Andre Ter Stegen is just not good enough. That's Kepa levels of bad. Honestly, he probably should leave at the end of the season if he does not improve, because that's a massacre. As we can see in the last 20 or so years, they've never finished outside the top 3. Only twice they finished third, the other years top 2. So seeing them ninth is just so crazy. And of course, it's correlated with Messi leaving, but they still have a good enough team to be in front of these Osasuna sides, of these Real Betis. They've got a good enough team. Memphis Depay is great. Frankie de Jong is great. Ter Stegen's having a very, very, very bad season, but he's meant to be good. They've got a good enough squad. On to the team that has impressed me the most, and that is Rayo Vallecano, the newly promoted side. As we can see, they've beaten Barcelona not a long time ago, and gotten good results there. A lot of wins away to Athletic Bilbao, which is not an easy place to go. So they're a new team, but they were in the Liga not too long ago. But a newly promoted team that are having a way better season than Barcelona in terms of where they are right now, not in terms of what they're expected to get. They're currently 6th. They're only 3 points outside the top 4. That's incredible. They're 3 points from Barcelona, and if they get European football, that would be absolutely amazing for them. Of course, as I said, a newly promoted team to be 6th after 13 games is pretty incredible, and this is by far the team that has impressed me the most. And I want to give a shout out to Real Sociedad, because they're first after 13 games, 28 points. That's also great, but they're not a newly promoted team. They're a team you expect to get European football every single season, not Vallecano. One of the best players right now is Oscar Trejo. Of course, the midfielder. He's experienced. It's been like 4 years he's been at Vallecano, since like 2017. He's a great player, and he's having a good season in La Liga. So he's not just good in La Liga 2, he's also great in La Liga. In 12 games, he has 2 goals and 6 assists. That is second in La Liga, only behind Karim Benzema. Of course, he's 33, so he's at the end of his career, but he's having a great season, and a big reason they're doing this good. In terms of how they've been the last couple seasons, they've of course been in tier 3s, tier 2s. They've been in La Liga like for 5 years in a row, not too long ago. 8th was their best finish, but usually they're bottom half of the table of La Liga, or they're in La Liga 2. So seeing them 6th is absolutely extraordinary, and I want you guys to keep looking at them. I think they're going to finish at least in the top 10, if not a European finish. Let's move to Ligue 1, where it is Lille, for me, the most disappointing team. They had won the league last season, of course, as we all know, and this season they are literally in the bottom half of the table. They've just drawn to Stade Brestois at home. These are the types of results that they do. They draw too many games, and they drop too many points. They never win. They don't score enough goals. There's so many things wrong with them, and I don't know what's going on. I know they lost their coach, of course, but that's not a reason. They're currently 12th. They got a minus goal difference, 16 points after 13 games, more losses than wins. They're behind the likes of Angers, Nantes, and Strasbourg, who all three finished so close to getting relegated. 18th, just stayed up in the playoff, and this is just not good enough from them. Their form is super inconsistent, and I'm very, very disappointed with them. I'm very disappointed with one player in particular, and that is Jonathan Bamba. He's 25. He's starting to get in his prime. Last season, he had 15 goal contributions in the league, and this season he has no goal contribution in 8 games. 7 starts. You can't say he's not had his chances. No goals or assists from a player that had 15 goal contributions last season. That's just not good enough. He's been a big disappointment. Maybe a big reason they've not scored many goals. You can also count in Burak Yilmaz, who's not been as good as last season. But he's 36. Okay, he's in the twilight years. You don't expect as much from him as you do from a player that's starting to get in his prime. In the last few seasons, they had 3 top 4 finishes in a row. This is where you thought they would be again, of course. In the last 20 or so years, they've only been 3 times outside the top 10. Actually, only twice. 10th, 11th, 17th. So 17th, that was the year they signed so many players. They had to gel. They had such a bad season. But after that, of course, 2nd, 4th, 1st. That's where you expect them to be again. But they're 12th. That's just, by far the most disappointing team in Ligue 1 this year. Even though Lyon, Monaco have started badly, at least they're starting to get better. Not Lyon at all. For the team I'm most impressed by is Lens. So of course last season they finished so close to European football, but just missed out on the last match day. But this season they have been so good. They've not even really signed many players that are super famous. They're just a good team overall. They are currently 2nd in the table. In terms of goals for, they are 2nd as well. Usually they don't score that many goals, but this season 25 goals in 13 games, only 4 goals less than PSG. Only 1 goal conceded more than PSG. Sure, they're 10 points behind, but they're also 2nd in front of Nice, Marseille, etc., etc. They're having a splendid season, and I hope that continues because last year they were so unlucky not to get European football, and I think they have to get it this time around, right? The player I've been impressed with the most is Jonathan Klaus. He's been signed about 1 year ago, before last season, from Armenia Bielefeld. He's a wingback/winger. He can play everywhere on the right-hand side. He's in his prime right now, and he's having a very good season. He might turn eyes, but although he's not going to go to a great team, he's 29. He's not going to go, but he might go to like a team like Monaco or Lyon. In 13 games, he has 2 goals and 6 assists. For a wingback/winger, he can play everywhere on the right, but like he usually plays more as a wingback. That's very good. 8 goal contributions. Nothing to say, but applaud. As we can see, last season was the first season since 2014-15 that they were in Ligue 1, and even then they would never finish from 2006-07 in the top of the table. Last season though were 7th, but from 7th to 2nd is such a big amount of improvements, and they've impressed me so much. I thought they were going to regress. That's what usually happens. It's like the Sheffield United, good first season and then just get relegated, but they've shown that they're a good team. Let's move on to the next league, and that is Serie A. The teams that's most disappointing. I don't think there's a single team that anyone would say was more disappointing than Juventus. They've just been appalling. And Massimiliano Allegri needs to change something. They've, again, not as many goals for. Ronaldo's not the difference maker. He's not the reason that they're bad. It's not because he left that they're bad. They got still Paulo Dybala, Alvaro Morata, but we'll talk about Morata later. and they're just not having a good season at all. They're currently 8th. They're tied on points with Bologna after 12 games. That's not the Juventus we know. They're definitely not winning the league. They're 14 points behind Napoli and AC Milan. And of course, the 7 teams ahead of them are good. Fiorentina, they're pretty good. It's a good league, Serie A. But you'd expect at least Juventus to finish top 4. That's the least you'd expect. They're exactly like Barcelona, like teams that in the recent years have always been so good, and right now are outside of Europe after 12 games, like Barcelona. So we'll see what happens, but they're not having a good season at all. The player that has disappointed me the most is Alvaro Morata. You'd expect him to take the role of Ronaldo, scoring goals for fun, but Morata, he's the Chelsea version of Morata. Last season he was not too bad, but this season he has 2 goals in 11 games. More than 300 minutes per goal, just the 1 assist. Gets so many big chances missed. This is definitely the Chelsea version of Morata, and that's not what they needed, and that's a big reason they're down in 8th. In the past few seasons, Juventus have been first, like just so many times first, 4th last season, but you don't expect them to be 8th. The season before that, and the season before even that, 7th. The last time they finished outside the top 7 in the Serie A, that's when they were in Serie B because of some financial things. So it's been at least 20 years since they've been this bad. It's historically bad. For the most impressive team for me is Napoli. Napoli, who had finished 5th last season on the final day of the season. They could have, if they had just beaten their game, they won their game, they would have finished in the Champions League. That could have taken a toll on them, but it didn't. They've absolutely smashed it for now. They are one of 2 teams that have still not lost in the league, with AC Milan 32.7 points in front of 3rd. 32 points after 12 games is just remarkable. They've got by an absolute mile the best defense. 4 goals conceded. Second best is 11. So their defense is really what's helping them. For me, the most impressive player is Fabian Ruiz. Not many people talk about him. He sometimes gets in the Spain squad, not too many times though. But this season he's been pretty good, of course. And he's a midfield maestro. In 12 games, getting himself 3 goals, 2 assists, 5 goal contributions. Nothing too spectacular, but still 1.6 key passes. He's having still a very decent season. As you can see, they've not won the league in a long time. But they finished 2nd not too long ago, 3 times in the past 6 seasons. So they're still a great team. But in the past 2 seasons, they've just not been themselves. They're back to themselves. But they're actually the title challenge can be between Napoli and AC Milan. So they've got a real chance of winning the league, because when Juventus were OP, it was pretty much impossible to get the title off them. But now AC Milan, like last season, I think they're going to regress at the end of the season, and I think it's going to be Napoli's to lose. Let's move to the Premier League, where the team that's disappointed me the most is, of course, Leicester. They're in the bottom half of the table. In the past few seasons, you've come to learn that they're a pretty good team, even though before that before they won the league, they were not good. Let's put it that way. And but now you've seen them have quite a good few seasons, almost finishing top 4 the last 2 seasons, crumbling at the end, very disappointingly. But now they're not having a good season at all. They're currently 12th. Behind teams like Crystal Palace and Brighton. They're you'd expect them. Some people thought they would get top 4. I didn't think so, but at least top 7. And if not that, at least top 10. But not even that. They're 12th. That's just not good enough for the Leicester we've come to learn and know. One of the most disappointing players this season in the top 5 leagues, I would even come to say, is James Maddison. Now he's meant to be one of the best players, probably just 2nd behind Jamie Vardy, but he's having such a shocking season after being linked to a big move. 1 goal contribution in 11 games from James Maddison. You'd expect at least 5 goals after 11 games, 4 or 5 goal contributions, but he's just having such a bad season, and that's probably because the rumors have psychologically affected him. In the last few seasons, we won't do before they finished first, when they because that's when they were very bad. But now the new Leicester is a team that's meant to be great. They finished ninth, fifth. But the last 2 seasons they were with Brendan Rodgers. He's still the coach, but he's been linked with a move away. They've been great in the last 2 seasons. Just crumbled at the end. But last 4 seasons not finishing outside the top 10, and this season so far they're 12th, and I'm not sure it's gonna get better anytime soon. On the other hand, a team that has impressed me the most is West Ham. Now, last season too, like Lens, last season they had a good season, a very good season. They're in Europa League, and they're doing very good in Europa League. But this team, David Moyes, is doing a fantastic job. They're currently third, and they've just beaten Liverpool. That's sensational, absolutely sensational. And they're only 3 points off the top place, Chelsea. I want to give a shout out to Chelsea too. But now Liverpool are only 2 points in front of Arsenal. They're in front of Liverpool. They're tied on points with Man City. They've got more goals than Man City. They're third in goals for. I mean, this team is sensational. Honestly, what a team. They can easily finish top 4. But like last season, I think they might crumble again. And we'll see. For the player that has impressed me the most, Michail Antonio. As you can see, he can play pretty much everywhere. He's just scored an absolute banger for Jamaica, by the way, yesterday, to equalize against USMNT. And yeah, he's a great player. Last season he was great too, but this season he's just taken a new form of good, bagging in 6 goals and 3 assists with 5 big chances created in 10 games, 150 minutes per goal. And yeah, the assists are also there, so it's not only the goals. He's a great player all around. In the last around 9 seasons since they've come back from the championship, they've only been in the top half twice, 7th and 6th. Actually, they've also been 10th when they came back. But all the other times, they've been in the bottom half of the table, and right now they're 3rd. That shows how impressive it's been this season. For the team that has disappointed me the most in Bundesliga, the final league, is Eintracht Frankfurt. I don't know what's going on with them. Maybe Europa League is making them tired. They don't have as big a squad, but you're meant to be prepared for that. You sign players because you know you've got more games to play. But they're currently 14th in the league, only 3 points above the relegation zone. 4 points above automatic relegation. I want to give a shout out to Kräuter Fürth because that's absolutely disgustingly bad. 1 point after 11 games, 8 goals for, 29 goals against. But I'm not going to give them because they're just newly promoted, and I feel like Eintracht Frankfurt are even more disappointing. The player that has disappointed me the most is Martin Hinteregger. He is a Austrian international. He plays internationally all the time. He's a starter. He's got experience, but he's just not having a good season. And yeah, he shoots absolutely powerfully. And he's played 11 games, started in all of them, only getting a goal there. 1 clean sheet in 11 games, 1 interception per game, 1.8 tackles per game. He's dribbled past almost every game, 2.5 clearances per game. It's just not good enough for a center back of that. He's meant to be very good quality. And he's got so much experience, of course, internationally and in club level. In the last few seasons, Eintracht Frankfurt, they've not finished outside. They've not finished in 14th. They finished above 14th in the last 5 seasons, so 14th would be super disappointing. They're not a team that usually does super good in the Bundesliga, like European football every year, but they're not a team that's so close to relegation, and that's what's disappointing with this team this year. For the team that has impressed me the most is Freiburg, and they've only signed like 1 player this season, so I don't know, like this team is, like a couple seasons ago they were pretty good, almost got top 4, but then even got closer to top 7. It was during the lockdown, so no fans, and for teams like that, no fans is catastrophic. They're currently 3rd in front of Wolfsburg, Leipzig, etc. They literally only have 1 loss, and that loss came last week, or 2 weeks ago now, because of international duty, and that was away to Bayern. Does not get harder than that. So Freiburg are having a sensational season, and it's going a bit under the radar, I feel like. The player that has impressed me the most is Mark Flecken, the 28-year-old goalkeeper. Not many people know him. In fact, probably no one that's watching this video knows him. But he's having a great statistical season. 11 games, 0.8 goals conceded per game, 3.6 saves per game, 82% save percentage. That is, well, that's great. That's what you want from a goalie. That's what Ter Stegen should thrive to be. Flecken is a better version of Ter Stegen. In the last few seasons, they've not really finished, like they finished 5th in 2012, 2013, 7th 2016-17, 8th 2019-20. So they're not a team that's that bad, but they've been in second Bundesliga only like 6 years ago. They've never finished inside the top 7 apart from 2012-2013. So they're not a team that usually is this good, and third is remarkably good. But that will wrap up the video. Please click the like button if you've enjoyed this video. Give me your picks for these teams in the comment section below. Please subscribe if you're new, and also comment what type of video you want to see in the future. And bye.